You ever walk into a place expecting something completely ordinary, only to find something that shakes you to your core? That's what happened to me one morning at a local fish market. I never thought I'd have a story like this to tell. And honestly, I wasn't even going to talk about it, but it's been eating away at me, and I need to get it off my chest. I'll warn you now, after you hear this, you might think twice before going to your favorite little seafood spot. It was just supposed to be a quick trip. I wanted to pick up some fresh fish for dinner. Maybe some shrimp too, if the price was right. I've been going to this particular fish market for years. It's a little hidden gem tucked away in a strip mall on the outskirts of town, place that locals swear by, with neon signs flickering in the windows and the smell of salt water clinging to the air, even before you step inside. When I walked in, the place was exactly how I remembered. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, rows of ice-packed displays loaded with every kind of seafood you could think of, and tanks bubbling away along the back wall, filled with lobsters, crabs, and fish still swimming. Everything looked normal at first, just like it always did. I wandered from tank to tank, checking out what they had. The lobsters looked decent, a couple of big ones wrestling at the bottom of the tank. The shrimp looked fresh, too, huge, plump, and pink. But then, as I made my way down to the farthest corner of the market, something weird caught my eye. There was a small tank, kind of off to the side, like it wasn't meant to be noticed. The tank was murky, the glass a little smudged, like they didn't bother cleaning it very often. I leaned in closer, curious about what could be swimming around inside. And that's when I saw it. At first, I couldn't make sense of what I was looking at. It was a creature. Something I'd never seen before in my life. Its body was smooth and leathery like a turtle's, but without a shell. It had these long, lizard-like limbs that ended in webbed claws, and its eyes. They were wrong, bulging out too far like they didn't belong on something that size. They stared back at me, unblinking as it swam slowly in a circle. I stood there, frozen, trying to wrap my head around what I was seeing. It was part turtle, part lizard, like something out of a nightmare. But it wasn't just that it looked strange. There was something off about the way it moved, something deliberate almost, aware. It was like it knew I was there, watching it. I must have stood there too long because before I could think to ask someone about it, one of the workers noticed me. He was an older guy with a thick apron and rubber gloves that reached halfway up his arms. His face twisted into this weird expression, like he was both annoyed and nervous at the same time. "Hey," he called out, his voice sharp and tense. "You're not supposed to be looking at that." Before I could respond, two more workers rushed over. They were moving fast, way too fast for something as simple as a guy looking at a tank. One of them, a woman, grabbed a cloth cover from a nearby counter and threw it over the tank in one quick motion, hiding the creature from view. The older man stepped in front of me, blocking my line of sight entirely. "Sir," he said, his voice low and deliberate, "you need to leave, now." I blinked, still trying to process what was happening. "What?" "I was just looking." "Leave," he cut me off, his eyes narrowing. "Now." At this point, I was confused and starting to feel a little uneasy. The other workers stood behind him, stiff and silent, like they were waiting for me to make a wrong move. There was something about the way they were acting. It wasn't just that I'd seen something I wasn't supposed to. They were scared, and not just of getting in trouble. It felt deeper than that. "What was that thing?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The woman who had covered the tank shot the older man a glance. One of those looks people give when they know they're in way over their heads. He gave her a slight shake of his head, like a warning, and then turned back to me. "Forget you saw anything," he said flatly. "We don't sell that. It's not for sale. You were never here. Got it?" I opened my mouth to argue, to ask more questions, but before I could get a word out, the two other workers grabbed me by the arms, not rough, but firm enough to let me know they weren't messing around. They started walking me toward the exit, the older man following close behind. "You need to go," he muttered as they escorted me through the narrow aisles, past rows of ice-filled crates and bubbling tanks. "And don't ever come back. If you know what's good for you, you'll forget this place even exists." They marched me straight to the door, opened it, and practically shoved me outside. The bell above the door jingled cheerfully, a weird contrast to how unsettling the whole situation felt. I stumbled a few steps onto the sidewalk, my heart racing, trying to make sense of what had just happened. I turned back toward the market, half expecting them to lock the door behind me. But no. They just stood there, staring at me through the glass, their faces blank and cold. For a moment, I thought about going back in, demanding to know what I'd just seen. But something about the look in their eyes stopped me cold. There was a kind of fear there, something deeper than just getting caught with a strange animal. It was the kind of fear you don't ask questions about. I stood there for what felt like forever, my mind spinning. And then, without really thinking about it, I turned around and walked to my car. I didn't look back. I never did find out what that thing was. I've tried researching it, Googling every weird combination of words I could think of. Turtle-lizard hybrid, unidentified aquatic creatures, black market animal trade. Nothing ever came close to what I saw that day. The weirdest part, I still can't stop thinking about it. It's been months, and I can still see it in my mind as clear as if it were right in front of me. Those strange, unblinking eyes, the smooth, leathery skin, the way it swam in slow, deliberate circles like it knew something I didn't. I've never gone back to that fish market, and I've never told anyone about what happened until now. Maybe it's better that way. Maybe some things are better left alone. All I know is this. If you ever find yourself at a place like that and you see something that doesn't make sense, something that shouldn't exist, just walk away. Don't ask questions. Don't stick around. And whatever you do, don't tell anyone about it. Just forget it ever happened. Because some things, they're not meant to be seen.
Mark, are the allegations true that you are secretly a lizard?